Welcome to Knife Chats. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, share it with friends, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Thank you. I'm going to try and do a video on budget-friendly knives. I know a lot of people have already done this, and a lot of people have different ideas of what budget-friendly is. For a lot of people, a budget knife is a knife that costs under $100. Well, that's near the top of the range for my knives. I rarely buy a knife that's going to be $100. Another group, it's like $50 and under are budget knives. $50 is near the top end of my budget. I really start thinking twice before I pick up a knife that's costing $25, unless there's a compelling reason for it to be in my collection. What I mean by budget friendly are knives that are $25 and under. These are knives that you can check out and see if you like them or not. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, folding knives that are under $25. Okay, let's get the honorable mention out of the way right away. That's Rough Rider. They make some of the best traditional pattern knives you're ever going to find for under 25 bucks. They run usually somewhere between $8-9 up to about 20 bucks or so. Terrific knives, built by hand, back for life, great warranty on them and everything else. And plenty of people are out there singing the praises of Rough Rider knives. I've been singing it for 10 years, and several other people also are singing it now too. So I'm not going to go into great detail, especially on their traditional pattern Rough Rider knives. However, I do want to mention that Rough Rider also makes some really good modern folders that you should also take a look at. And these things are also in that same budget-friendly line, you know, starting around $7-8 and going up to about $15-20, and really good knives, all sizes, all shapes, and priced at the same price that all those unbranded knives are. But these knives work really well, and they have a great guarantee with them. So consider the Rough Rider modern folders also if you're looking at testing out modern folders. Not a bad knife to go by. Let's move on to other brands now. Okay, another Smoky Mountain Knife Works house brand that I think deserves a look at, that doesn't seem to get the same love that Rough Rider does, is their house brand Marbles. Now, Marbles is an old line out of Gladstone, Michigan. They went bankrupt. SMKW bought the trademark, and they opened up a line of knives by Marbles. And when they did that, the knives moved to China. And so that's one of the reasons I think it gets a bad rap sometimes, because it was an old American brand that's now being made in China. So a lot of people are just not going to like it to begin with, simply because of that fact. Same thing happens with Camillus. Camillus moved to China. A lot of people got very upset, so they will not buy those knives, even though some of them are quite good. But what I like about Marbles is the variety of knives that they have that you just don't see anywhere else. For instance, if you're looking for a fly fisherman knife, unless you want to spend $200 or $300 on one that's in mint condition, you're really stuck buying the one by Marbles. They're the ones who have one now. And it's, just like the old ones, and Marbles made these a long time ago. Now it's being made in China, but it's a really, really cool knife. And if you like the knives that are not the same as everything else, you're going to have to find it in the Marbles line. No one else is doing this. So it's pretty cool. And they also got this one here, which is also like a wrench, and it's got all sorts of other tools on there, including where's it at? You got the file and the screwdriver here. Got a main blade over here, and then the pliers that you open up. And unlike so many of them, the latch here is not holding the pliers closed. It's got a little latch all of its own that lets those pliers open up, that are also wire cutters. So it's a really nice fishing tool, and it's from Marbles. No one else is making one quite like this, and this is a solid, well-made knife. Another one, they're locking fish knife. Looks like a trapper a little bit, but it is a single-bladed fish knife. It locks, and this is exactly the way Marvel's made them a long time ago, and it's a really cool pattern, different than other knives you're going to see out there. And it's got a nice style to it. And then also we got this one here, which is a Marvel safety folding fish knife. And you open it up that way, pull the blade out, close it down, and now you have a fixed blade that's not going to fold up on you. So, you know, you don't see that by anyone else. And obviously, you know, they're one of those few companies that still make a large toothpick. So that's why I really like Marvel's. And you also have seen the Scout knives that Marvel's has done. So, and again, these knives, along with so many other knives in the Marvel line, are really under 20 bucks. You know, they fall in the $10 to $20 range. So really cool knives that you don't see everyone else making. And so it's kind of fun. So I would recommend Marvel's especially if you're one of those people who are looking for something out of the ordinary. Marvel's might be the way to go. When it comes to doing these top 5 lists, the hardest thing for me to do is pick that number 5 knife. I usually already know what my number 1, 2, and 3 are. Sometimes I don't know exactly which order they would be, but I know usually what my top 3 are. The 4th one is a little sketchy, but that 5th one is usually very difficult. And it's mainly because, usually it's because I'm trying to decide between several knives that kind of all fall at that same level of number 5. And so what I'm going to do is in the near future, I will do another video on several brands that fall into that number 5 slot for me. But today I will just talk about one of those number 5 brands. I guess another way to look at it is there were several brands that tied for the 5th spot on this list. And so what I will do is do another video on just the number 5 knives. But for now, for this video, I'm going to show one of those brands. And that one is Palladio or Balladeo, whichever way you have to say it. And I really like them. I've been on a kick with Balladeo recently because I've been picking up a lot of knives in olive wood, and they really make some great looking knives in olive wood in the under $25 range. They come in, well, those two are right around $20. This one was right around $12. And this is, you know, I love sod busters, and this is a really great looking sod buster. I mean, it's they call it a terroir, but I like Balladeo. And so because I've been collecting a lot of their knives recently, that's why it's making this video. But they also have other than just olive wood, and this is one of the earlier ones I picked up by them. It's a Swiss Army style knockoff knife, but you know, the main blade has a liner lock going on it. Has a soft nylon kind of a skin on the outside. You've got a nice pair of scissors that work quite well, and buried underneath those scissors you've got the end-mounted Phillips screwdriver. So some pretty cool tools on it and everything, and it's just you know, it's a Swiss Army style knockoff, but it doesn't look like a Swiss Army style knockoff, so that's kind of cool. And that's one of the other things I like about Balladeo is they don't make it's a company out of France, so I'm not getting a lot of traditional American pattern knives. I'm getting European pattern knives and other kinds of knives in the collection, and that's one of the reasons I really like Balladeo. Like I said, this is the number 5 slot. Several other brands also made number 5. You'll see those in another video. Okay, the knife that inspired this video is this one here, the Juliet by Magnum Boker, or Boker Magnum, whichever way you want to call it. It says right there, Magnum by Boker. This one is really interesting. It's got little torque screws holding on a white smooth bone handle, so it's a mix of the traditional and the modern folder going on. It is a slip joint, looks like a sod buster, and it's a really well made knife that you can get usually for under 25 bucks, 448 stainless steel blade. But there's several other knives by Magnum, by Boker out there that are really cool too. Here's a 6 implement camp knife. I can't remember what they called it, but I think they called it the sporting knife or something like that. I'll have to put it in the details. Got a can opener, your cap lifter screwdriver, a main spear blade, and all of these are titanium coated 448 stainless steel. You got a clip blade here, a small clip, and then you've got the corkscrew and a really nice punch on the back side. Blackwood handles, really good knife. Another one that's similar to that, obviously I collect camp knives, so I had to go ahead and get this one too. This was the Boker, I think they called it the classic pocket knife. They should have called it a scout knife and people would have found it a lot better. All those typical tools you'll find on a camp knife with really nice blackwood handles. And really a solid, well-made knife. This one I think goes for around $15 and this one around $20. So all easily under the $25 mark. I don't have any to show you here, but Boker also makes a variety of modern folders that are under $25 too. Last count I saw at least 18 of them of different quality, different styles and everything that were under $25 selling on eBay, and that included the shipping charges. So Magnum by Boker is one of those brands that have quite a few knives that are under $25 and some that go over $25, and it's a really good way to introduce yourself to the Magnum line, and then also get you kind of introduced into the more expensive Boker line, either Boker Tree Brand or Boker USA. I think Magnum by Boker is the budget line for Boker Tree Brand out of Solingen, Germany. And the knives from Boker Tree Brand start right around the $40 range, and then they go well into the hundreds. But this would be a good place to start if you're interested in checking out like Boker. Not a bad way to go, and Boker is a really fine line of knives. So this would be a great way to introduce yourself to the start of the Boker line. Okay, next up is going to be the Kershaw brand. It's been around for a long time. They're not really a budget line, but they just happen to have a lot of knives that you can get for under $25. They also have knives that are over $100. This particular one costs $17. It is the Kershaw Pico, and it's really a good sized knife for everyday carry. And it's a nice, good flipper, and it's got HCR13 MOV steel. Now, these are all budget knives, so HCR13 MOV is a good steel for a budget knife. Obviously, it's not a super steel, but for super steel, you're talking about $100, not $17. So remember that when you're looking at these. But a blade is nice and tight. It's got a very strong frame lock going on here. You've got a reversible pocket clip for a knife that's $17. And it's got a good reputation going behind it. It's a good name brand. A lot of people know Kershaw, and a lot of people swear by Kershaw. And so these are the kind of knives that if you want to find out if you're going to like Kershaw or not, why not grab a Pico, see how it works and everything, and then if you like that, then you can move up to one of the more expensive knives like the Kershaw Leek, which I've bought a couple Leeks and I've always given them away and regret it every time I give it away. I really need to get another Kershaw Leek. But that's a $40 knife as opposed to $17. So yeah, Kershaw, definitely a brand worth investigating if you're into budget knives, because if you really like the budget Kershaws, you're probably going to really think twice about going ahead and purchasing an even more expensive Kershaw, and you probably won't regret it when you do it. So that's the cool thing about Kershaw. And for my final brand to recommend, it's the original Swiss Army knives by Victorinox. Now, there's a couple reasons I'm recommending these. First of all, um, they're probably the least threatening knife that you're ever going to have. People usually don't get upset if they see you with a Swiss Army knife, especially these smaller Swiss Army knives. I mean, you can monkey around with these as much as you want to. The classic SDs, 58 millimeters long, 2¼ inches long. You know, the blade is nice and small. It's very non-threatening, so no one is really going to complain that you have Swiss Army knives. So that's one of the big pluses on it. The other thing is they've got a great guarantee. They've been around for 100 years. And another thing that will solve a lot of problems for a lot of people is the knife is not made in China. These knives are made in Switzerland, a nice neutral country. So a lot of people are not going to have a problem with the fact that you're collecting a knife that is made in Switzerland versus a knife made in China. So those are a couple reasons why to consider the Victorinox knives. Another thing is they have quite a few knives that are under $25. This here is a Smoky Bear Tinker that I bought from SMKW. Goes for $24. Here was one that was a Spartan that was put out by Victorinox itself, and this one also around $20. The camper here, which has a saw blade in it. I've got another video on campers. This is your basic red one. Goes for like $18. I mean, they're all relatively low priced. These are some of the fancier classic SDs that I have. They all range in price from like $17 to $20. So all sorts of different knives out there that you can get. You could actually just collect classic SDs, 2¼ inches long, 58 millimeters. Every year, Victorinox comes out with a limited edition collection of 10 each for the year. Other companies also come out with limited editions. This one here is from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And then they have the various flags of the world ones that you can find and everything else. So the variety among Victorinox knives is really there, and anyone on a budget can easily amass a great collection of these in little or no time at all. Yes, there's quite a few knives that are well over $25. You know, the larger knives and everything else, and the ones with more blades, and some of them that are very rare and everything. You can easily get into knives that are in the $50 to $60 range, and also some of the really scarce ones that are well over $100. Some of them even as high as $300 or $400. So you can easily get more expensive ones. But also, if you are on a budget and plan on remaining on a budget for a long time, you could just settle on something like the classic SDs and amass a really wonderful collection in no time flat, spending no more than $20 a month. So that's why I definitely would recommend Victorinox Swiss Army knives for somebody who is collecting on a budget. A lot of them out there for under 25 bucks. And if you go on to the secondary market, you can find a plethora of even the higher end knives that sell well under $25.
Thank you for visiting Knife Chats. I hope you enjoyed your time here. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel and ringing that notification bell so that you will be notified when the next episode of Knife Chats is up online. Thanks again. See you soon.